Hey everybody, welcome to Teal Tinted Glasses. Just a little informal gathering after watching 2 games of the rookie Faceoff. Gotta mute myself, there we go. Here we are. I thought that so far, I got a bunch of questions in the chat. I'm just going to give some quick thoughts so far, and then I'm going to kind of go to some questions in the chat, Twitter, etc. I thought, overall, I thought the Sharks had some really good games. I don't think the outcome's important per se. Uh-oh, we got fire trucks and making noise. Damn dogs. All right. Sorry about that. Go lay down, Tubby. All right. Sorry, my dog's hearing me, and he's like, hey, you're talking. That means you can pet me. And I'm like, no, I can't. All right. So where was I? So anyway, I thought, the outcome of the games aren't as important so much as, you want to see how the players are playing, how they're playing together, especially guys that are going to be playing together this coming season on the Barracuda. So you kind of want to see how they're doing. It was good though. Like I thought, I don't know. I overall, I've been impressed by the Sharks. Zachary Emond yesterday, I thought had a really good game. I thought, despite the score and the late surge by the Golden Knights tonight, I liked for the most part what I saw from Josef Kornash, who is basically, I don't think there's anyone that's threatening him to be the backup in Barracuda land. Maybe someone can correct me on that if I am wrong, but I feel like he's going to be the guy backing up Bebo this year. But I still thought it was a good outing for him. He's played most of his hockey over in Europe, with the exception of 1 year in the USHL. And I know his numbers aren't spectacular. I know, a lot of people say like his World Junior, and I thought his World Junior was great. But a lot of people look at the numbers from the World Junior and say he's not that great. I think context matters there. When you play for the Czech Republic, you're going to get beat up on by a lot of players, right? So for one, Chmelevsky's American. He has a Russian name, but he's American. And Chekovich, both of them are not old enough to play for the Barracuda. They are both back to juniors. So that's the reason why they will not be on the Barracuda next season. They have to go back to junior because they're at the point in their careers where they either have to make the Sharks or they have to play in junior. They can't play in the A. So that's the answer there. I'm going to hit Twitter here because I got some comments in Twitter that I wanted to address quick. While we're doing this here, where am I? This is probably, I doubt I'm going to put this in the audio, so if you aren't here watching this now, I'm sorry. I'm assuming there's just going to be a lot of dead air because I have to read stuff with my spectacles, and it's going to be silly. All right, I'm trying to see. I gotta go through the questions to just like the silly comment. Alicia wants to know what's our take on Blichfeld. Think he makes the Barracuda next season? I don't think he can go back to junior next year. I feel like he's aged out of junior, so I feel like he's definitely going to be at least in the mix for the Barracuda. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Sharks seem pretty high on him. I'm expecting, this guy is probably going to play third line minutes on the Barracuda this season, as far as that goes. You get to hear my sound effects too as I kind of go through my tweets. So I think that's the only question I had. Why did Chmelevsky and Chekovich play in the playoffs last year? Because their junior teams were eliminated, which allows them to sign ATOs with the Barracuda, and then they can go and play. Dog, stop. I don't know. I'm gonna take your questions here. Obviously, players that I've been impressed with so far, I've really liked what I've seen of Latunov. I really haven't seen much of Latunov play. Obviously, NCAA, really hard to follow up here, especially without going through just extraordinary means to try and find games to watch. But Latunov I've been really impressed with. Both of his goals have been, he had that really sick spin around backhander tonight, which was just crazy good. And then he last night he had a really good goal, you know, just in the dirty areas and just popped in a rebound, which was really nice. I've really liked what I've seen Leafnoff. I think it's hard to track because obviously you don't get a whole lot of stats from these games, but I feel like I've really liked what I've seen him do in the face-off circle too. I don't feel like he's lost any draws that I've seen. Now I could be wrong on that, but because again, those stats aren't really available. But I really liked, he's been pretty solid in the dot, and I think he's interesting. Other players that I've liked a lot, I think Chmelevski. I mean, I've always had a hard on for this player. You know, I think he's been really, really good. Chmelevski, just, you know, Chmelevski's a guy. I said this on Twitter yesterday, and I feel like I need to explain this a little bit, because I feel like Chmelevski's a guy who I know I said yesterday that on Twitter that, you know, this is a guy that could probably play in the A with right now without any issues. And I don't think it's that he's not like Dylan Strome the last year he played junior. He's going to put up, you know, 2 points a game on average, and, you know, just silliness like that. Like, I'm not saying that he has nothing to learn in junior. Like, I think he'll continue to develop just fine in junior. I just feel like he could make that jump to the AHL, and it might be better for his development. But I mean, it's, you know, it's a hypothetical. It is what it is. You know, guys, the junior, the CHL NHL transfer agreement is what it is. But I just felt like I should probably explain that, because I'm not saying, I wasn't trying to say yesterday that Chmelevski's like heads and tails above everyone on junior, because he's not. He's, you know, he's a good player, but I just feel like with the poise that he has shown playing among that age group, you know, coming into the Barracuda last year at the end there, on that stretch in the playoffs, and just what I've seen from him in this rookie tournament, I just feel like this is a guy who probably wouldn't be hurt by it. You wouldn't be throwing him over the deep end. Does, you know, is he better than, you know, is he infinitesimally better than junior hockey? No, obviously not. And that wasn't what I was trying to say. I was just trying to say that I think the maturity in his game is at a point where I think like he would benefit from being able to play with adults if the world was a different world. I think that he's going to do fine in Ottawa. Here, I got to fix my camera. I feel like he's going to do fine in Ottawa this year. I'm looking forward to when Ottawa makes their annual trip up to the Sioux. I'm definitely going to be at that game. You know, I've got a bunch of games circled off that I want to go to. And that's definitely one of them. Second 67s rolling into town. I'm going to be front and center for that, I promise you, because this is a player that I just love watching play. Just absolutely adore watching play. See, this is what it's hard when you don't have someone else, because then I have to take a drink and then there's just dead air. It's terrible. I don't know how Dirk did this on his own at all. I'm gonna go. You know, Dirk saying Letunov making an argument to be forced on the club. Man, I think that's a long shot, but man, yeah, I mean, it's hard because again, we're not seeing like the players that the Sharks left at home, right? You know, obviously Gambrell's not here. You know, they left a lot of their big prospects at home, and which is, I think, also positive when you figure how well they're doing this in this tournament. Like in this tournament, it's not really a tournament. It's not really a tournament. It's just a showcase, really. I hate when they call these things tournaments because there's no winner, there's no bad. I just, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're not seeing other players that are going to be, you know, that are going to be trying for that spot too. So I think Letunov has really stood out, and I think that's a really positive thing. I think he's going to be really, really great for the Barracuda this year. But I would be interested to see what the, you know, what he looks like in comparison to like a Gambrell, who I think has the, you know, the inside, maybe not the inside track, but I think he's more, you know, I think he's in that group ahead where, you know, you don't see like the Antti Suomelas, you don't have the Dylan Gambrell. So I think, you know, it's hard when you don't have those players to contrast with. I'll be curious to see what games he gets into in the preseason. Hopefully, you know, we'll be able to watch some preseason games, and I'm looking forward to hopefully them playing some preseason games that I can watch, and maybe I can give you a better assessment there. But yeah, who's ready for a bad Condors team? Everyone. I don't think anyone here wants a good Condors team or a good Heat team or a good whatever team, right? We all want a bad Condors team. We all want a bad any team that's not the Barracuda. I'm just trying to scroll through the chat here so I don't miss anything. But again, if you guys have like a player that's performance is stuck out to you, I mean, definitely throw it in the chat, and I'd be happy to going in. Are we going with tune instead of Latunov? And how do I think Merkley is doing? I think Merkley's doing great. I think Merkley's been everything he's been advertised to be. Obviously, this is a player that I have some experience watching already before he was even drafted, and he's a smart player. The way he moves, I mean, the way he can just blast through the go from blue line to blue line. And then he just always just seems to hit people with passes that at first you're like, why are you making this pass? And then he hits his target with it, and you're like, okay, that's why you're making that pass. I mean, I've been really impressed with Merkley this tournament. I mean, he's shown he's the best player that the Sharks have on the ice so far. It's yeah, I don't know. Should we be concerned about Merkley's penalties? No, I think he's, that's going to be part of his game. He likes to get under people's skin, but of course that, because I think he has to play with the snarl in his game, because the book's out on him, man. People know that this guy, if you can get under his skin, you can get him way off his game. So he's going to have some snarl. I mean, I don't have a problem with much. I've seen. Jake Clark, I hope you're joking. Just like his brother Nick. That's amazing. I don't know. I've been really impressed with Merkley. I mean, the way that he moves the puck, the way that he can just hit players with passes that normally you would say, why are you making that pass? I mean, I'm not too concerned with the penalties. No, I think that's probably you would want him to tone it up a little bit, but this game I felt, especially after he got laid out specifically, I feel like a lot of the calls tonight were really just tight, like extra tighter than it probably needed to be. But yeah, I just, again, yeah, like Cheryl saying, like the way he skates the blue line, it's fun watching others try to do it. It is, because it's just the way the things that, so a lot of the things that Merkley does, you just can't teach. And that's, and that's awesome, because when you have like talents that you just can't teach, then there's lots of stuff that you can learn that you can teach. And I think, Merkley's a special player, and if he can keep his act together, if he can keep his emotions in check on the ice and keep his act together off the ice, the Sharks are gonna, people are gonna look back at that at the 2018 draft and go, man, Sharks really got a good one there. And a lot of teams missed out because talent-wise, I've said the whole time, Merkley talent-wise was the second best defensive player in the draft, period. On talent alone. Obviously, there was a lot of noise for Merkley that had him fall in the draft, which we won't get into because I've beaten this topic to death. But it's just silly. Nick DeSimone had some good plays and he had some okay plays. I feel like a player like Nick DeSimone should stand out more in a tournament like this or in a showcase like this, where he's clearly has more experience than a lot of the players that he's playing against, and you would like it to show more. Like, I feel like You know, a guy who I'm not really a huge fan of, Brodzinski. I thought he looked, you know, he showed he wasn't amazing, but he showed the experience that he had over the other players on the ice. You know, um, so I feel like, you know, I feel like as much as I like DeSimone, and you know, he had some good plays tonight. Like, I'm not saying it was a complete wash for him, but you want to see more of a guy like DeSimone who just has more experience on these guys playing against better competition. You know, I mean, obviously some of these guys on the ice here, Berkeley's, you know, Nick Hague on the Golden Knight side showed why, you know, why everyone's so gaga about him, especially like watching, and you know, Nick Hague, just a rocket of a shot. You know, Zachary Iman last night got the shutout, but I didn't hate Cornash's game because, I mean, those Nick Hague goals, I don't think anyone was stopping those. Like, the one goal, he just kind of lasered it through everybody. I don't think Cornash ever even saw it, and even the last goal, it was just a pretty goal. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's how I feel about. That's how I feel about DeSimone. I thought Middleton, I think it was Little Middleton playing with Merkley tonight. I thought that pair was like great. I thought that he really helped. Bail Merkley out a few times in the defensive end. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Vince. I feel like, I don't know. Would he be in Leafs jersey? I don't think so. I think that they had Sandin zeroed in on. I think that was the way they were going to go, regardless. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. Yeah, Middleton 2.0. I can't say enough good things. Just like his brother. You know, just a steady, solid game. And I think, you know, you can't really go wrong there. Player that I haven't brought up that I've been really impressed with, Jake McGrew, really looks good. You know, his goals were, he's just, not even just the goals though, right? I mean, the goals are nice, but just the way he is in the offensive zone, like, he's always a threat. It seemed like anytime he had the puck, you know, McGrew was a threat with it. And, you know, again, this is where I kind of credit the Golden Knights goalie, because there's a couple times where I thought McGrew for sure was gonna have that hat trick, and maybe more. If not for Coyne at the other end, Jake McGrew might have just blown this game open ridiculously. Like, I can't say enough about McGrew. Yeah, and like Jerk is saying in the chat, you know, he's got a nose for the net, and he's really sneaky with his shots, and he's, you know, some of the shots that he took, they just came out of nowhere. Like the one, I don't know if it's the first or second goal. I was just like, oh, and it's in the net. That's a goal. Groovy. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like you were expecting it to be a good, solid, you know, it wasn't like you were expecting it to become this big goal scoring play, and then suddenly he's just in the net and you're like, holy crap. So yeah, Jake McGrew's been a guy that I really enjoy. And Vince, I think, yeah, I think that's a good analogy. You know, Jake McGrew has a good chance to be what they hope Nieto would be. I mean, obviously there's, you know, time will tell, but I don't hate that comparison at all. But yeah, I'm going to open my pop here and a day drink. I don't know, man. Who else did you like, chat? I'm going to let my throat moisten again. Yeah, no, I agree with Vince. If he can round out the rest of his game, like, again, it's going to be interesting. I mean, because, again, this is a showcase, so you're just looking at, you know, you want to see good traits from the players so much. I mean, the end results, look at, was it fun watching the Sharks win both games? Yep. But it's not really what you're looking at. You know what I mean? It's not the important thing, I think, when you're in this, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. See, this is when someone would save me, but I can't. Matt Fontaine, yeah, Matt Fontaine had a good game. Yeah, I apologize for all my butchering of names on Twitter. I should have had like I have like a billion screens. I should have had the rosters on one of them, but I didn't, so I just kind of winged it. And Zach Fry was another guy. Fontaine, Zach Fry, guys that definitely coming in under the radar. I thought really stood out and impressed me today. Can't really argue. I think I know we talked a little bit about Chelesky, but Chekovich, I mean, he's on the net. This is another guy who really intrigues me because he always seems to just be in the right space. Race fan, are you guys going to do Barracuda After Dark this season? I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's difficult to say. I don't want to convince like over in Teal Town, like there's 50 million of us. To do Teal Town, like to do Barracuda After Dark consistently, there's 3 of us, man, and it's a grind. On top of our other obligations, on top of the fact that I actually have to sleep some nights, makes it really difficult when all your games are starting at 10:30. To do shows consistently. I definitely feel like our Barracuda coverage this year, and I said this on our last show too, our Barracuda coverage is going to be, yeah, and a lot of day games too, where I make it up. But our goal is obviously to definitely, with the new AHL package, I'll be able to watch again more consistently. I don't know what our Barracuda coverage is going to look like this year, but it's going to be better. And I promise that it will be better. I just don't know whether that's going to be in, an after dark type show where, we come on after a Barracuda game and talk about it, or more like Jerk in the chat talking about his KHL coverage. I feel like I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be better than it was last year, because obviously the price point makes it a lot more accessible for me, who just flat out couldn't afford it last year. And so I feel like our coverage is going to be better. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if we're just going to, in the hour and a half that we do Teal Tinted Glasses every week, if we're going to dedicate a certain block of that to the Barracuda, if we're going to maybe have like a secondary Barracuda show that we do intermittently. Like, so I don't want to convince to like a weekly thing or anything. Like, I don't really want to, because we've done a lot of the summer talking about things that we want to do, and they haven't really come to fruition. So I'm really afraid at this point, because we've kind of, and I'm not passing blame. I'm just as guilty as anybody else here. I don't want to make promises I can't keep. This summer, again, just circumstances beyond all our control, but we were kind of absent this summer, and so I don't want to make promises of what Barracuda coverage is going to look like until we get kind of a feel for what's going to go down. But it's definitely something, we definitely are committed to increasing our coverage. I just don't know what that coverage looks like, but as soon as I know, you'll know. Yeah, Race Fan, we always looking for help. So if you want to help, hit me on the Twitter machine later, and we can definitely discuss for sure. That really goes for anyone. If you want to come on and talk Barracuda, man, I am totally game to open the floor to other people to come on here and and then say their piece. Obviously, I got to work it out with Jerk and Kevin, because it's not the Ian Joe, it's Teal Tinted Glasses. So, but definitely, if you're interested in helping us out there, I mean, hit us up, and I'll definitely run through the guys and see what we can work out. Yeah, Keegan Colasar, a guy watching the coming years. Vegas has a ton of guys to watch out for coming up. But yeah, Colasar, I mean, I didn't really mind the hit against Jerk. Who's Kevin? We are all Kevin, Jerk. Yeah, the Golden Knights, they have some really intriguing guys. Any other invites that I found interesting? I don't have the list in front of me, and I probably should. Yeah, I like Fry. I like Fontaine. I feel like those are both invites. I'm looking forward to seeing, not that we've seen him yet because he hasn't played yet, but I would like to see Max Paddock in net. Topping, yeah. They've definitely taken a look at Kyle Topping. A guy that I'm interested in seeing, and I'm hoping he plays next game, is Max Paddock, a goaltender currently playing in Regina, undrafted. So it seems like, again, Topping and Max Paddock is another guy who likes to, is another guy that they've taken a really long look at. He was at camp, he was at rookie camp, and now he's here, and he's on the Sharks training camp roster, like their official training camp roster. So it's another guy they're taking a long look at. Huge breakout season for him in Regina. I thought he played really well in the Memorial Cup for Regina. Obviously, it didn't end his way, but given that they've given Emond and Coronash full starts, I don't see Paddock why they wouldn't start Paddock on Tuesday against, I believe, the Avalanche. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing Max Paddock play, just because it's a guy I've been familiar with watching junior hockey, and I think he's got talent, and I was kind of surprised he went undrafted. So that's an invite I'm definitely looking forward to seeing, because again, and Zach, really, the last time Zach was on, he always brings us up when I complain about the Sharks goaltending prospect pool, and that's Jones isn't really going anywhere for a while, so it's not like it's this big pressing need. But Max Paddock would be, in my opinion, a far more interesting player that I would be interested in our Zach. He'd be like, I'd be instantly more interested in Max Paddock over some of the guys currently in the system. Although again, one game, but I was really, really impressed with Zach Reman. Impressed me in a good way, obviously. Thoughts on Vale so far this preseason? I really like Jeffrey Vale. I think that I thought he played a better game tonight. I thought he was a little bit invisible yesterday, although he was playing on the fourth line yesterday. I'm not sure what line he's playing on this today, but I thought he was. But no, I really like his game. Guy on an AHL only contract who's obviously playing for that elusive two-way contract. I thought he had some good stuff this year, this game, sorry, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he fits in when the Barracuda season starts. Because again, Barracuda have a lot of forwards. They don't have an ECHL affiliate. They're one of a couple teams. I think another team dropped theirs as well. I think maybe Montreal did. Yeah, they'll. Yeah, I mean, again, the winger. That's another guy that I thought was just kind of all over the place. It's not all goals. I thought it's you need guys that can come in and kind of bring that sandpaper. I thought Winger brought that sandpaper tonight for sure. And yeah, that was the line. I mean, it's hard because obviously when you're watching these streams, you get the one camera, and it's just kind of like the same zoom. Yes, thank you, Cheryl. The Habs did drop their ECHL affiliate, so I think the Habs and the Sharks both don't have one. I just feel like the Sharks. I'm surprised the Sharks don't. Like, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't try and go talk to the Rapid City Rush, for example, who gave up their affiliation with Minnesota, or well, Minnesota may give it up with them when they took over the Allen's Americans affiliation. So I'm kind of surprised that the Sharks didn't kind of go that route, because I feel like they have a lot of guys, like just loaning players out for the Sharks. I feel like it's going to be a somewhat daunting task for them, because I feel like they have a decent amount of players that are going to need homes just based on roster limits and whatnot. So I'm curious to see where Vale will fit into that. Will fit in on the team when the puck drops. And Rob asking what happens when a team doesn't have an affiliate with an ECHL team. The affiliate, if you don't have an official affiliation, you kind of just have to loan your players out. So you can loan your players out to either other AHL teams, or they will have to loan them out to other ECHL teams. It's when you don't have an affiliate, you kind of lose that arm of your development. You can't keep players together. It's harder to keep players together anyway. So it's not like you can just send all your players to one place so they can continue to play together. You have to basically loan players out to just whatever team will take them at that point, which sometimes maybe no one wants your player. Whereas whereas Allen would pretty much, not that they'd have to play your guy, but they'd have no choice. It's like, we're sending you to Allen, and then Allen's like, okay, well, I guess we're playing you. When you don't have an ECHL affiliate, you kind of loan your players everywhere. So whether they have to loan them to a random ECHL team, or maybe they end up having to loan you to another AHL team. We've seen that before too, where a player gets loaned out to another team's affiliate. Like when, like Rafi Torres, for example, when he got traded to the Leafs, they left him with the Barracuda on loan. And that happens all the time as well. So that's the drawback, really, though, is you can't keep your prospects together. So if you wanted, guys to continue developing chemistry, although not in the AHL, you lose the ability to do that without an ECHL affiliate. That's the big drawback, in my opinion. Kuda Phil saying you save money. The Sharks probably do. I don't know I don't really know the business side of the affiliations. I just kind of know they exist. And it's uncommon for teams not to have affiliations all the way down.
Yeah, I feel like having the ECHL affiliate, it's kind of a new thing in the last, decade or so. I mean, I know for the longest time there was only a handful of teams that had an ECHL affiliate in addition to their AHL one, and now it seems like every team has one. Of course, the Sharks and Montreal are obviously the exception to that. And hello, folks, I got the itch, so here I am.
Well, hello, Mr. Hockey Jerk. You surprised me because you just came out of nowhere. I must have been doing really bad.
Like I said, Christine already given me a hard time. No, like I said, I was listening and I got the itch, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to jump in there.
Oh, I appreciate it. And we have a decent amount of people watching, which is amazing for, again, the dedication of this fan base. And I tried not to really complain about it, but this blackout nonsense, I mean, it's just silly, because if we can get, if we get people watching us talk about a pre-preseason game, really, because the official preseason hasn't even started yet. Like, real training camps not even open. There's just all these rookie showcases, and we can get people watching us talk about that. And I don't understand why the NHL just constantly does this to themselves. Like,
well, and for how long, their mission has been to grow the game, they kind of do a poor job at doing that sometimes.
And I don't know. I mean, like, it could not be. Maybe it's not the NHL. Like, maybe this is a franchise decision. Like, where maybe it's the Sharks that are doing this, and the Sharks are the ones limiting it to the Bay Area. I don't know. I mean, I've been fortunate enough that I just been watching it on the opposing team's website, and it's worked so far, and I'm hoping that continues on Tuesday. But I mean, you know what? Like, what is it harming? It's the same feed. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like it's a special, like the Sharks feed that's blacked out on their website for me is a different feed than the one I watched on the Vegas feed. It's the same people. Like, it's the exact same feed. So why this is, I don't know.
Yeah, and then you look at the other side of that coin, and I know Cheryl can attest to this as well. But her and I both watched Edmonton and Vancouver's games today on YouTube for free.
I know. Yep. That's the other thing too.
And it's like, some teams are just like, yeah, we literally are going to, promote it so that it's the first thing that pops up into your suggestions, and, watch it at your leisure kind of thing. And then you have, teams like the Sharks who are like, yeah, we have this link, but it's not going to work everywhere, and we're not going to repimp the link when the game starts, so you have to find it and all this crap.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible. I think YouTube, like, all of it. What? Trade alert? What?
No.
No.
Oh, Montreal acquires Thomas Tatar and Nick Suzuki and a second for Max Pacioretty.
Wow.
Holy crap. Oh, Vegas clearly does not want to be the laughingstock this year.
Wow.
I saw Nick Suzuki's a hab, and I'm like, okay, there's a troll here.
What is going on? No, it actually happened. He just finished playing, and now it's like, wow.
He shows up. He's like, hey, coach, what do you think about today's game? Listen.
A second-round pick. Wow, for Max Pacioretty.
A second-round pick and Nick Suzuki and Thomas Tatar.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay. Wow. I can't even, I'm trying to, wrap my head around this. I thought Nick Suzuki had a good game tonight, too.
Yeah.
Him, obviously, he's one of the better players on there, but wow. I can't even believe that for Max Pacioretty.
That is a king's ransom.
Yeah. Wait a second. Did Montreal get a new GM before the game? It's still how do you get all that from Max Pacioretty?
Wow. The fact that he had a down year in goals probably makes that draft pick a second. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. How long has Montreal been looking for a top 6 center? And now they have Nick Suzuki.
Yeah.
Who could be that? And I think you kind of look at this too. 7 months ago, Vegas gives up a haul of draft picks for Thomas Tatar, and then they, pass on him after 23 games.
Oh man, that's the feeling and that's the thing that makes me laugh about this too. And I love when this happens, when we're on air and something cool happens.
I know. I was like, what the fuck?
Here's the thing, when you figure out what they gave up for Thomas Tatar, and then figure they gave up a first, a second, a third for Thomas Tatar.
Yep.
And now they've given him away along with Nick Suzuki and a second.
Another second for
and all they have to show for it is Max Pacioretty? Ouch. Ouch.
What
are you doing, Vegas?
I will say, though, if Pacioretty can get back to scoring 30 goals, maybe we have a different conversation. But I think right now, I don't think Vegas got totally hosed here, but I think right now you have to give the edge to Montreal.
Oh, yeah. Montreal picks up a stud prospect.
A draft pick.
Yeah.
And this is what I don't understand. Thomas Tatar is not bad,
No.
No, but what I'm saying is, this is a guy who consistently has put up 20 goals in his NHL career, 20 goals a season. And he has a tough go of it in Vegas, and I'm Montreal. The only thing that I'm kind of on about this is clearly if you're trading Max Pacioretty, you're, rebuilding in air quotes. But, Thomas Tatar is not a guy who, in my opinion, belongs on a rebuilding team. He belongs on a good team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely. Wow. I just can't believe this happens. Wow. At 1 a.m.
I know, and that's the thing is Montreal's in the Eastern Standard Time, which means Marc Bergevin was probably getting really restless, and he's like, crap, I have to do this. Hey, you know what though? Makes me wonder, maybe the Vegas stream works in Montreal.
Maybe
Montreal's not in the blackout zone.
I guess not. Wow. I just wow. Oh. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of, it seems like the Twitter reaction seems pretty
they seem
split.
A lot, honestly. I even tweeted it out. I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good deal for both sides, but the edge, goes to Montreal. But then I see a lot of people saying like, Montreal's dumb, this, that, and the other. And so I'm like,
yeah, I don't know why you'd be angry at Montreal like for this, because like that's a good haul, man. I mean, like for Vegas, it's interesting asset management, because like I said, when you consider all they gave up for Tatar, and then to give him, and then to lose more. I mean, Nick Suzuki, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna sting them. I mean, look at Vegas is flush with prospects. One Nick Suzuki is not going to be the difference between being successful down the road and and not being successful down the road. But it still stings. Like that's a high price to pay. And I'm not trying to crap on Max Pacioretty. I think Max Pacioretty is a hell of a player. I think that when you look at the way the season went for Montreal last year, I know a lot of people are crapping on him because of those numbers last year. That's not fair. This guy has been a consistent scorer for all the other years of his career, and
it makes it makes me wonder what Montreal could have got had Pacioretty hit 30 again this year. No, like that second is probably a first. And, Thomas Tatar is probably, Alex Tuck, if I just had to pick a guy off the roster.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can flip him, right? You can flip Tatar.
I'm repeating myself here, but the thing that I can't get over is how soon Vegas gave up on Thomas Tatar. Like, I can't get over that.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think when you're getting Max Pacioretty, these are the things you have to do. Because again, I think Max Pacioretty has given a lot of crap that he doesn't deserve this offseason, as far as people talking about his value and whatnot. They gave up on him, but at the same time, I mean, he's Vegas has some pretty significant holes that they need to fill after this last offseason too. And I think Pacioretty probably fits those needs a little more than Tatar does.
So, and here's the interesting thing too, the interesting wrinkle to this whole thing is, if you recall at the draft, Pacioretty to San Jose and Los Angeles were both done deals contingent on an extension.
Right.
And obviously the extension didn't come, so the trade was nullified.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see a Pacioretty extension in the next 12 hours?
Yeah. I think so. Some Twitter scuttlebutt kind of alludes. People think that. I think John Shannon Suzuki's now his career is officially ruined. Learn some French, Nick Suzuki.
I was going to say Suzuki does not sound very French to me.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I feel like. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be an extension here. I think that I don't know.
It's shock. It is literally I'm still like coming down from this high right now.
Like, I know. I just love that we were on the air for it. Like I was like,
I know. I think it was Christine said in the chat. She was like, she was like, Suzuki is a hab, and I'm like, there's no way that's true.
Right.
He just played.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there you go. Domi can hook Suzuki up with his new French tutor. Absolutely. Is Carey Price next? No, Carey Price isn't going anywhere. No one's taking on that contract for. As good as I think Carey Price is, and as Carey Price is another guy who I think has just been, for some reason, is like suddenly the worst goalie ever, which is just not the case. Carey Price is going to be fine. He just needs to be healthy. But I think with his injury issues and that contract that he just got, there's no way in hell you're moving Carey Price.
No, absolutely not. That contract, is unmovable. And, we've seen in the past where Montreal puts out some kind of questionable teams and Carey Price gets them there,
Yeah. All Carey Price needs to do is be healthy.
Yeah, exactly, which he's struggled with, but Christine dropping straight up Mackenzie bombs.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, like You know what though? I mean, considering the return that, and you know, we know these things change. Like obviously, getting close to the end, getting close to camp, and I feel like Pacioretty came out and said I don't know if he said he wasn't after camp started he was going to negotiate, or once the season started. I don't remember exactly
he said
what it was.
He said once the season started, he wasn't going to negotiate, and this comes after, word getting out that Montreal wasn't going to offer Pacioretty a contract at all.
Right. But man, like at that price, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad that I fear what the deal with the Sharks would have looked like if this is the return now, and maybe the return now is higher because they had to get it done, and Bergevin kind of had them because he could just hold on to them the rest of the year too, right?
Right.
So I kind of wonder,
Bergevin has all the power in this situation.
Right.
I mean, he could have easily, held on to him, let Pacioretty get to, 20 goals by the deadline, and then it's like, oh, hello, I have this piece right here,
Exactly. Because I don't think he could, I don't know his contract status. I don't know if he could have spiked a trade or not during the season, but I guess he could have because he'd still have his clause.
So I just want to say for those listening, I sent Drew Weber, part-time contributor to the show, Drew Weber. I sent him a text of the trade details, and he just responded, and he said, "What is asset management?"
Right. That's my question, because, like I said, when you consider what the Golden Knights gave up for Tatar, only to give up on him so quickly, like it just. And again, maybe Bergevin thinks that Tatar is going to bounce back and have this amazing season, but
I think he will.
There's no reason to think he won't.
Right.
Although now in Montreal, maybe not, because he's not like he's going to be.
Could you picture? I don't know. Picture Tatar, Drouin, and Domi. That might be something to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like he's completely void of talent there, but at the same time, I mean, it's you would think that he would have meshed much better with that Golden Knights team, which is a little more laden with talent. Although who knows? I mean, they still don't have a deal for Shea Theodore. Nate Schmidt's out for 20 games. Who knows what this team's going to look like when the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, I think if, like I said before, I think if Pacioretty bounces back and he is able to score at the rate he has literally every other season of his career, then Vegas is not going to sweat this one at all. But if it's like if Vegas gets a repeat of last year with Pacioretty, then you're really in trouble. And Drew also says you're essentially trading 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third for maybe 1 year of Pacioretty. When you think about what they gave up for Tatar.
Sure, but I still think Pacioretty is going to have an extension before the season starts.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Considering the type of guy Pacioretty is, he doesn't really strike me as a guy who's all about the money. This could end up being a really team-friendly deal for Vegas.
Could be.
Like, you think about how many years he was making $4.5 million and scoring 30 goals. Like, yeah. And not only that, I mean, granted, LA, they got Ilya Kovalchuk, so it's kind of moot for them. But I think if you're Doug Wilson, and I have to think Doug Wilson was at least monitoring this situation. If you're Doug Wilson, it's kind of like, okay, what's plan F now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was Cheryl's question too. Is like, does Doug Wilson react or stay the course? I think he stays the course, honestly, because I just don't think that there's any, I don't know. I mean, unless he goes and empties the bucket for Erik Karlsson, like what else is there to do at this point?
We could play Erik Karlsson at forward too.
We could. No. We get Erik Karlsson and Burns to forward, silly.
Oh, dang. All the goals.
All the
no
goals.
Defense.
No defense. I don't know. I don't think that Doug Wilson's going to do anything. I think he's going to wait. He's going to bide his time. He's going to watch situations like Tyler Seguin play out. This has the potential to actually be a pretty decent UFA class. Potentially. Again, maybe everyone gets extensions over the course of the year and you don't, but I I don't know, man. I don't think he does anything. I think he has like $4.8 million in cap space.
About, yeah. I mean, now, but let's think about it like this. Okay, so let's say this trade, let's say it goes down with San Jose. Let's say this trade goes down at the draft. You think of that from a Sharks perspective. What is that? A second, Bodker and Gambrell? Maybe.
Man, I don't know.
Because I mean, and obviously I'm talking in like a right now kind of sense, but Suzuki is not the same player as a Thomas Hertl, you know?
No, but here's the thing that I'd be concerned with, because Suzuki, is Suzuki. So I don't think the Sharks have that guy that's Suzuki's age that's up and coming, right? Like all their players are pretty much, maybe Balsers. You could maybe go Balsers.
There you go, yeah. I think the key for Montreal
does that become Timo Meier?
I think the key for Montreal was a center,
Right, yeah.
And so
from that perspective, Gambrell would make sense, but I would think that they're, if I'm Montreal and I'm talking to the Sharks and I'm looking for a young, cheap player that might be able to help me now, like, man, I'm looking, you talk about playing with Domi and
Drouin.
That's where maybe a Timo Meier comes into play.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not saying that I would like to see that or anything, but I just feel like, when you're looking at trying to build a roster, you want players that are familiar with each other, and Drouin and there's definitely some familiarity between some of those guys. So especially Drouin played in the queue as well.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what that trade, but I'm kind of glad at that price that the Sharks were not like, and I'm not, I think there's been a lot of dumb stuff said about Pacioretty, and I'm not on that camp. Like, I think Pacioretty is a good player for the right price. I just don't think that's the right price for him.
You think it should have been less, or you think it should have been more?
I feel like Vegas, I don't like it. I don't like this trade for Vegas at all. I mean, I know Tatar didn't really mesh there, but I don't like it for them to get just Pacioretty back.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like this you usually see, and it's such a stupid thing, but you usually see Suzuki a second and Tatar. The other side you would see like Pacioretty in like a sixth.
Yeah, where's the sixth? I don't think there's enough sixth or fifth round picks in this deal to balance this out. Yeah, I don't. It's so stupid. I don't know. Maybe I'm undervaluing Pacioretty, but I just feel like Vegas gave up a lot.
See, and it's all like it really, and I guess you could make this argument with every trade that's ever been completed in the history of ever, but
for sure,
I feel if Pacioretty gets back to form and they get him extended, I'm not sweating this trade at all. Like, draft picks, you got 1,000 of them, whatever. Suzuki, sucks to lose a guy like that, but you've got Cody Glass waiting in the wings, and William Karlsson is still young, and Tatar, you gave up a lot for him, but, insert that's Alex Tuck here, or, Pacioretty, and, Pacioretty, you think about it like this, they lost James Neal, who scored a lot of goals for them. Now they get a guy who is going to score as many, if not more.
Oh, the second round pick is actually Columbus's second round pick.
There you go. Not even their own pick. Boom.
Yeah. Boom. So there you go. And it'll be a lot. You'd think, well, no, I guess not. I think Vegas will be fine this year. Who knows? This pick's probably about in the same ballpark, right? Columbus, Vegas. I don't think Vegas is going to be. I don't think they're going to be terrible this year.
No, I mean, they're not going to. I don't think they're definitely not going to win the division. I think the Sharks actually have a good chance of doing that, but I definitely think Vegas makes the playoffs with, minimal issue. And
sorry, I just went back to the chat, and I'm seeing this.
and I'm giving Jessica a hard time, but it's like, stuff like this, like stuff like this has a chain reaction. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Teams who were monitoring this situation and then they didn't get what they wanted out of it, they tend to do something else, or something else tends to happen because of it. And I'm going to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins a little bit, but all summer, they were rumored to be looking for a goal scorer, and they strike out on Skinner, they strike out on Pacioretty. Like, makes you wonder where them and on a broader scale, teams who are looking for goal scorers, it makes you think where they go next. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like after Pacioretty, I don't feel like there's a big, piece that half the teams in the league are like, well, this is our guy, we're going to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like Nick Suzuki.
Like I said, and you know what? I'll be the first to tell you, Montreal, it does a lot of dumb shit, but they did this one right.
Yeah.
They really
for
did
all
this one right.
For all the crap that we give Montreal, and I give Montreal a lot of crap.
Oh,
but this is this is a good move. Bergevin made a good deal here. I think he traded out, especially once you're captain too. Like, it's interesting now, because now you wonder if this is going to be another team. Like, is this going to be the 8th team going into the season possibly without a captain, when the captaincy is so important?
There's no way. All of you, write it down. The first 4 scenes of the season. There's no way Drouin does not have the C on his sweater by opening night. There's no way he doesn't.
Wow. All right. There you have it here first, guys.
He's from Montreal. He's literally the poster boy for that franchise now.
Felix asking, does this take Vegas out of the Karlsson sweepstakes?
No. No, it does not.
No, because if you're moving Erik Karlsson, you're going to have to, you're not getting Erik Karlsson for picks and prospects. Like, salary's going to have to go the other way. And it's going to be, you're going to have to send out a good player to get Karlsson, or, probably more than one good player, to be completely honest.
I don't know. You think, I don't mean to cut you off, but you think Shea Theodore's an RFA. Maybe that's where you start.
Well, I think he'd be in the package, but I don't think I don't think that's where it ends. Like, I think.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
You're going to have to move money to get, this is a thing where you're going to move money. Money's going to get moved in that deal.
Well, not if Steve Yzerman has anything to say about it.
Right. Oh man, could you imagine Erik Karlsson on Tampa? Just shut down the league.
I saw. So you recall there was a big thing with the Mike Hoffman trade about how Pierre Dorian didn't want him in the division. I saw a tweet where it was like, oh, Pierre Dorian to Steve Yzerman, hey, aren't you in our division? And then Steve Yzerman's like, no, and Dorian's like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, Rob saying Artemi Panarin. Yeah, that's your guy. Sharks fans. That's your next target to watch for 6 months before somebody else gets him.
Yeah, because I can't see. Can you see Tyler Seguin making it through the season without getting a new deal in Dallas? I can't, because what does Dallas do from there?
Dallas has been meh for a while now. Like,
but Tyler Seguin's not a part of that. I just can't see anything that you would get for Tyler Seguin that's going to help you now, especially if you lose him for nothing.
Well, but that's the thing, is you kind of have to, if you're who's their GM? If you're Jim Nill, you kind of have to look at your team and say, okay, and not like what you BS to the media, like truly say this to yourself: can we win a Stanley Cup?
Right.
And not to cop out, but I really don't know. Like, sometimes I think Dallas has really good nights, and other times I think they're abhorrent.
Well, they don't have, again, this is a team, like the Islanders. This is a team that lets in way too many goals because their goaltending's old or garbage. In this case, it's old.
Ben Bishop certainly helped.
He helped, but he's not the Ben Bishop of old.
Right.
He's held together with duct tape. Right? Like, I don't know. I feel like the defense is starting to come along there, but they still don't have, Ben Bishop. I'm not saying Ben Bishop's a bad goalie. He definitely helped. I mean, but it's when you're improving from Kari Lettinen and Antti Niemi, that's not exactly a difficult thing to do.
And you know,
it seems like there's nowhere to go from from there, right? Like,
right. Well, I mean, and you think they bring in Khudobin as a backup, which I think is automatically an upgrade over Kari Lettinen.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe if Ben Bishop, I'm trying to think, if Ben Bishop like rolls his ankle at a autograph signing, or if he I don't know, jams his toe on the bathroom door or something, Khudobin will be there, and Khudobin can play a lot of games,
Yeah. If we lose again to Toronto, how is Toronto going to add any more players? Like, they have to pay Austin Matthews. They have to pay William Nylander. They're going to have to pay Mitch Marner soon. Like,
they're paying Nikita Zaitsev. Like,
right. Like, yeah, they're set. They have enough. They don't need any more free agents. They're done. They're cut off. That's why I know that's like everyone's saying that because it's funny, but at some point they're gonna run out of cap space for all these guys.
But you know what? That is how this relates to the Leafs.
That is how this relates. How does this podcast affect the Toronto Maple Leafs? Well, I don't think they have the cap space to get Seguin and every other free agent that's coming up.
Yeah, Toronto. I mean, Toronto's not even gonna, like you said, Toronto's not even gonna have cap space to re-sign the guys they currently have.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely gonna be. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have Maple Leaf pajamas when I was a kid because I was a Montreal fan before I was a Sharks fan. And not because shame. Well, there was no Sharks, so that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Did
you have Montreal pajamas growing up?
I'm sure I did at some point in my.
Hey, Montreal Canadiens podcasts out there. Keep your.
That's right.
Open your wallets.
Open your wallets. It's all bonus, but it all counts against the cap. Here's the thing. Okay, let me explain this for a second. There you go. Vince G is going to be the next Power Ranger. Just because Tavares's deal is all bonus, it still affects the cap the same. The difference is when you're paid in signing bonus, when signing bonus makes up the majority of your cap hit, all it means is that money's guaranteed. It doesn't get touched by escrow. You get paid it whether you're locked out or not. It doesn't change anything. The signing bonus still counts against the cap, whether it's all salary or all signing bonus. It counts against the cap all the same. It's just the method on how it's paid to you. Signing bonus gets paid all at once on July 1st. It gets taxed once. It doesn't get touched by escrow. It doesn't get touched by by lockout. If there is one, you get paid the money guaranteed regardless. So that's how that works. It doesn't change anything as far as salary cap goes, because that would be just a giant loophole, and it would have never made it this far. Although I think that teams are probably it'll probably be something they will talk about during the next CBA negotiations, but it's the same. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm sure you heard, but somebody set off fireworks outside my house, and Vince says that my neighbor is probably a Habs fan. You know what?
Possible. They're everywhere.
It's very possible. Welcome back to Blue Blanc et Rouge Tinted Glasses.
Blue Blanc et Rouge.
I'm your host, Monsieur Hockey Jerk. Oh my goodness! But what a night. We were here for that. That's great.
Yeah.
We got, TSN, Sportsnet, we got RDS, we got those
Teal
guys.
Tinted Glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the same family of networks.
Family of networks at this point. Just, put us up there with them. Man, what a fun weekend so far.
I know, I was kind of worried I wasn't going to be able to see the game tonight, but I ended up getting to see the first two periods, and it was nice to watch some nice to actually get to watch some hockey because, like the KHL's back, but it's very hard for me to get up at 7 a.m. to watch my team play. So I just get the updates, but
Right.
Yeah.
Felix saying it's good that the NHL can't become like the NBA. Yeah, I mean, these guys sign super long deals with all guaranteed money. There's no player option or team options or anything else. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the NHL, I like the way it is, but it's not like the NHL you can't still put together. I feel like you can put together a good team. I just feel like the method, like you don't see, you can't just be like, hey, me and all my buddies are going to sign over here because we're magically all, people hit free agency so little now that.
Well, and the nice thing too is the NHL doesn't have a soft salary cap, so there's no
Right.
way that happens, which is good, because
it is good.
I mean, you think back to pre-salary cap era, in the NHL, like you had the Red Wings stacking up their team because, they had all the Little Caesars money coming through so they could afford it. But, now every team is on an even playing field. And I think it makes things better. And I think if the NHL were to go to a soft salary cap, I think, we would get back to that era of like pseudo dynasties and then like meh teams.
Yeah. Teams that just, it would be David versus Goliath again. I mean, if you look back, you bring up the Red Wings, and that's a great team to bring up because that team, like their team salary before the year the cap came in, I think was $70 million, which was, I don't even think the salary cap coming into that season, the first salary cap season was, I don't think the cap was anywhere near that.
No, I believe the first season of the salary cap, I could be wrong, and I'm going to fact check myself while I'm talking, but I believe the salary cap the first year they had it was 48 million.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, it sounds right. And that's what the Wings were spending like $70-80 million at the peak of their power on their salary.
Yeah, and that's and you think about too. You think about that 2002 Cup team. I mean, what Yzerman, Larionov, Brett Hull, Luke Robitaille was there. Like they had a lot.
Stupid.
Yeah, not even fair.
No, it wasn't fair. Yeah, so I mean, I like the salary cap system. I think that I mean, there's some things in it that obviously aren't great, and I think they need to iron out. But overall, it's a good system. I know some people make the argument that it's nice to have those teams that that you just hate because they're because they're the Yankees and you just hate them for that reason. And I think there is truth to that. I think there was some teams that I just hated because you knew that they just could spend money out the wazoo and it just didn't matter and you hated them for it. And they were good, so you wanted to see them lose and want to see them lose badly. But I still feel like you still get that. These days, like Chicago. Are we all happy Chicago has fallen from grace? Absolutely, we are. So I don't know. I don't think you completely miss that, but I see the argument for it a little bit.
So for the first season that the NHL had a salary cap, the ceiling was at 39 million.
Right. That's what I thought.
It's unbelievable because now the floor is higher than that.
Correct.
So it's like it goes to show you how much it's gone up. Like I feel like a constant conversation, is cap space and how much guys are making. But I mean, every see how many years, 12 of the 13 years that the NHL's had a salary cap, it's gone up. The only difference between being the half season when it technically went down, but even then it was right back up, in a couple years anyways.
And then compliance buyouts and everything else. So
oh man, those were awesome.
I don't know. Anything else we need to cover here? Because I probably need to sleep at some point. This is cool. I'm glad we got to come on and talk about some prospects. We had a big trade that we could break and break down like all the big fish. Just remember when breaking news happens, Teal Tinted Glasses, because we're on this shit.
Absolutely. We this is your spot to be. Why go to TSN? Why go to Sportsnet or the Score or any of those other guys or NBC? God forbid. No, Teal Tinted Glasses is where you want to be. And yes, special thanks to Christine for bringing the news of the trade into everybody's sphere of influence. She definitely spurred the conversation.
She's the real hero here.
Yes. Not all heroes wear capes.
Sorry, Vince is gone.
Hey, you know what, Vince? You gotta, if you're not getting all that extra money by playing games in May and June, you gotta get it somehow.
That's true. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here because I'm gonna fall asleep at some point here because I need to. Kids wake up early for school in the morning. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us after completely meaningless rookie game. And then for some trade talk, we'll be back. We're going to have a real show this week at some point. I'll let you know when. Other than that, though, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the notification button so you know when we go on. Thanks for you guys for coming in and watching us babble about guys that may or may not play for the Barracuda this year. All right, guys. Other than that, though, guys, thanks for coming out. Hit the notification button. Make sure you tell 2 friends and all that good stuff. Jerk, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Just be sure to follow me on Twitter at hockey_jerk. Follow Kevin at KevinLacey22. Maybe follow Drew at puck_over_glass. He needs to change that handle. Ian Blogs Hockey, Teal Tinted Pod. Follow them all. We're going to be your source for all the latest and greatest analysis and breakdowns of all the happenings in the league.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a good night. See you later.